Welcome back to my channel, guys. In this video I will show you how to make this princess that's strapless or spaghetti strap long dress with the crisscross back and all this going on at the back, just like you saw in on my thumbnail. So let's get started. So I've already drafted my pattern. This is like a basic bodice, right? And then we're going to alter it into the spaghetti or the spaghetti strap here, the princess that I'm who princess that. So here I'm labeling my chest line, my bust point, my underbust, and my waistline, right? So the waistline of this person is 16 and a half, and I added half inch to make it 17, as you can see. Okay, from the shoulder is 16 and a half. So I'm going to be altering this to a princess and I'm who princess that and into a spaghetti strap. Okay, for first I'm going to mark my bust span, which is my nipple to nipple of 8 inches for this person, and as you can see I'm marking 4 inches on my waistline and on my bust point, and I'm going to connect it with a straight line there. The next thing I'm going to do is to come on my bust point and I'm going to mark 1 inch down. Okay, this is just like we do to eliminate any pointy parts. Just mark 1 inch down. Then I'm going to take my that intake on my underbust. I want to take 1 inch on each side of my underbust, and the same thing 1 inch on each side of my waist, and I'm going to connect it to that 1 inch that I marked down from my bust point like this. Okay, so you connect it like this, and then the next thing is to get the midpoint of my armhole. So I'm going to get the midpoint of my armhole from my shoulder slope, and I have 7 inches there. I'll get the midpoint of 7 inches, which is 3.5, and I'm going to mark it because I want to create that armhole, that. So I'm going to connect that 3 inches to my bust point as shown. Now the next thing I want to do is, this is a strapless dress, okay, and it's not supposed to be just exactly on your shoulder. That is, the strap is not supposed to be exactly on your shoulder. So from my shoulder I'm going to come in by 2 inches. You come in by 2 inches because you don't want your strap to be by your shoulder because it will be falling off. So you come in a little bit by 2 inches, okay, or even 1.5, but I'll do 2 inches, right? So but first I want to determine where my cleavage or my break point, okay, will be at. Okay, so from my shoulder slope I'm going to mark 4 inches. I'm just going to mark 4 inches and connect it with a straight line. This is where the this thing is going to be, that is, the strap is going to start from. Okay, so remember I said I'm coming in from my shoulder by 2 inches. I'll come in by 2 inches and I'll mark it there. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new armhole, right? But first I'm going to determine the depth of my cleavage. That is where I want the cleavage to stop. I want it to be on my chest line. Okay, so I'm just going to connect from that 2 inches that I marked inward there, create a curve there to mark my neckline. So that is my neckline, and it's going to stop on my chest line. If you want it to come down a little bit, if you want to show more cleavage, you can come below your chest line. Okay, I'm going to create a new armhole like this. I'll connect it from that 2 inches that I marked to that hole area like this. So this is the shape we have. Can you see? Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is to tighten my armhole area. So I'm just going to come on this line and mark that princess seam line there. I'll mark half inch on both sides, and then I'm going to connect it back to my bust point. So can you see what we have here? Now I'm going to close back this dart. Just close it so that I'm going to reshape it Okay, if I don't do this, this other end will be short, as you can see. But once I close it, I'm going to reshape it like this, so that by the time I cut and sew, I would have equal um ends. Okay, so I'm going to make it like this. I also open it like this, and then I'll go ahead and extend this other dart leg like this. Okay, so that by the time I join, everything will be equal. So now this is what we have. I'm just going to shapen my bust area to remove any pointiness, just shaping it. And then this is what we have. So this is where our strap is going to be. Okay, so let me just rule a straight line so that you just picture what I'm trying to show you. This is where our strap is going to be. Okay, this is the armhole, the dart is going towards the armhole, and this is the neck area. So the next thing I'm going to do is add my circumferences. So I'm going to add my chest circumference divided by 4. I'll mark that on my chest line. That's my bust circumference divided by 4 plus. Now I'm adding whatever that intake that I have on there. Okay, so you measure what you have there. I have about 1 inch. I'm going to add it back. So remember whatever that intake you're taking, you're going to add it back. I'll do the same thing on my waist. My waist divided by 4 plus the dart intake that I removed there. So we removed 1 inch on both ends size, which is 2 inches. I'm going to add the 2 inches back. Okay, now I'm not adding any extra allowance because I'm going to be extending this. Okay, I'm not going to be cutting the back separately, right? That means this bodies will not have a joining by the sides. I'm just going to extend my chest line to accommodate the extra I'm going to add to it, which will serve as the back. Okay, so this front bodies will just kind of overlap towards the back to cover the size of the back. So I'm extending by 5 inches. You can extend by 4 if you want a little bit more opening at the back, but I'm extending by 5 inches, and I'll add ½ inch to it. The ½ inch is for seam allowance, so that means I'm extending by 5.5. Okay, so the sides, there will be no joining at the side. I don't want the sides to have any joining. It's just going to go over and cover the back a little bit because there will be a loop at the back. Okay, so I also extend the waistline by 5.5 inches, and then I'm going to connect it with a straight line like this. Now I am done drafting, and this is what I have. Okay, I'll go ahead and cut this out. So please watch the lines I'm cutting so that you understand what exactly I am doing. So you cut out your pattern. So the down part is a half circle. Yeah, I'm not going to be cutting it on this tutorial. I will just leave a link on my description box where or how to cut a half circle skirt. All right, so this is what I have now. This is what I have. Okay, now I have to cut this on my fabric, and I'm going to be cutting 2 pieces of each of them. Okay, so this is going to go over to the back and cover a little bit of the back, right? I'll cut this on my main fabric. I'm supposed to have 2 pieces of each of these. Okay, yeah, that is to say that I'm going also, after cutting on my main fabric, I also cut it again, so that because I want to use one of it to turn another one. But first I'm going to label this pattern. So these places I'm marking is where I'll be adding my ½ inch allowance on my fabric, because we didn't add it on the pattern, so we'll be adding it on the fabric. So I'm adding ½ inch. The indications means that this, as I'm cutting on my fabric, I'll be adding all the allowances we've already added here and on the down part, so we are not adding. So we're only adding where I didn't add on the pattern. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll get my fabric and I'll cut it on my fabric. So I'm using a Duchess fabric for this. Okay, this is Duchess fabric and I use 3 yards for this. So I'll cut 2 pieces of this, just pinning down to my fabric, and I'm going to cut it out, add the necessary allowances where I need to add them, which is on these sides, that is on the bust sides. I'll add ½ inch that I'll use and join the bust, and then I'm not adding on the down part because we already added it on the fabric. I also not add on the side because we already added ½ inch on the pattern, right? But I'll add ½ inch on top of this, please. I'll use and turn it. So add ½ inch on this part. So I have 2 pieces of this. I'm also going to cut out another one. Okay, so I'll have 4 pieces of the sides, right? Then for the middle part, which is this one, now I'm going to fold my fabric again into 2, and I'll make sure that it is on fold. Okay, so this part should be on fold. So I would cut 2 of these. Okay, I'll cut 2 of these, 2 of this center front and 4 of the sides, right? So pin it down and I'll cut. So I'll add ½ inch on this part where I'll be joining the darts, then ½ inch on this side as well, and then on the neckline ½ inch. So I will cut another, so I will have 2 pieces of this one. So I'll go ahead and cut 2 more for this and 1 more for this. So I've cut out everything. So this is what it will look like. I have 2 of this and 4 of this one of the sides. I'll be joining everything together, and I'll use one to turn one. So I'll go ahead and join this one like this. Okay, I'll join it, and then I'll join the other one as well, this one that will serve as a lining. And then I also have my straps that would also serve as, to loop the back. The length is 50 inches for each of them. The width is 1.5. Okay, so this is where it's going to be here. By the time I fold it over and sew on the wrong side, then I'll turn it inside out and iron, and then I'm going to fix it here. It's going to be here. Okay, like I said, the length is 50 for each of them, so there are 2, right? So this one is just going to go over to the back. That's why I said there will be no back piece, or there will be no joining by the sides. So this is for the strap, and then this is for the loop. It is smaller. The width is 1 inch, and I'm just going to sew it, and then I'll use it as my loose. So I've joined this. Remember to notch your darts and press flat your seams. I've also done the same for the other one. Now I am going to cut out the part I'm going to use as my loop. I've joined and turned everything inside out. For the loop, I am going to measure 1.5 inch. Okay, measure 1.5 inch, and then I'll cut about 10 because I want to have 5 on each side. Okay, that I'll fix like this from the top to the bottom part. So I'll just cut about 10 of it because I want to have 5 on each side of my bodies of the back. So when I'm done, I went ahead to mark the parts I want the loops to be on the sides, and I just folded it into two. Remember, I marked on the front and then I just hit it so that everything will just appear on the other side, as you can see. Okay, and note that you leave about half inch up and half inch down, because you'll be joining the front and the back. Okay, joining the top part and the down part, so leave about half inch on the top part and the down part when you're marking. I'll go ahead and attach the loops like this. Okay, just put it like this. I'm sorry the camera is far this time, but I hope you can see what I'm doing. Also go ahead and attach the straps like this. It's supposed to be on this pointy part, so I'll just put the straps like this, pin it down, put the other one facing inside, okay, like this. And then I'm going to use this one and cover it. Just place it on top, front facing front. I'll go ahead and hold everything down with my pin. And then I've held everything down with my pin. I'm going to go ahead and sew it all the way like I'm showing, by half of an inch. Okay, so after sewing, I will notch every of the parts, cut out every excess, and after notching all the parts, I'm going to turn this over to the right side and I'm going to give it a thorough press. Just press everything so that it lays very flat. So I'll turn it to the right side and here is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and iron everything flat. Just iron everything well so that everything lays flat. The next thing is to now attach the skirt part to it. So here is the skirt part. Okay, it's a half circle. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link to the description box. I just marked out the center of the circle. Okay, I also marked out the center of this bodice, and then I'm going to match the notch, that is the center of the circle of the skirt and the center of the bodice, and I'll sew with half of an inch. When you get to this point, you realize there will be excess. That is fine. That is because the bodice does not extend to the zipper area of the skirt. So what I'll do is I'll sew everything up, and once I am done sewing like this by half of an inch, here the excess that we have on the sides of the skirt, I'll go ahead and fold it like this and sew. You can also use a bias and turn if you so wish. And then after doing that, I'm going to fold my skirt into two, and then I will attach my zipper. I'm going to attach my zipper about 7 inches. Just leave about 7 inches opening and then attach my zipper by how many allowance you added. Okay, mine is half inch and I'm using for my zipper, so I'm going to sew by half inch, and then I'm going to fold this area like I said, sew on it before I attach my zipper. Okay, so this is what it will look like once I have done that. Right, I'll go ahead and attach my zipper and I'll show you what it looks like. So I am done. So here's what it looks like. I've attached my zipper. As you can see, this is the part that I folded, and this is the loop that you're just going to loop it, and this is the crisscross at the back, and this is how the back looks like. This is the skirt part, this is the front. Guys, this is the end of this tutorial. I hope it was pretty easy to understand, and please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.